Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the church versus the state in regards to scientific history and scientific discovery. So in the early history of the church, there are many prominent scientists and new discoveries being made. Two of these were Copernicus and Galileo, are the more well-known scientists of the days. During this time, the 16th and 17th centuries, there was many new discoveries being made, and the church did not like this because many of these discoveries went against the verbatim acceptance of the Bible that they had previously been going with. And so a lot of the times they would take these scientists and tell the public that, hey, their findings are not real, and they would declare them heretics and they'd be excommunicated from the church. A lot of times their books and their publications were burned, and they were killed and tortured in different ways. They did this because authors such as Galileo wrote the books that he put out, such as dialogues in Italian rather than Latin, like previous authors had done, which meant not only the elite and socialites could read it, but also could the lay people. A major conflict between the church and science has always been kind of how did the universe and how did Earth, how did we come to exist? So that really plays into creationism and evolutionism. In the Bible stories or passages, Genesis 1 and 2, it just lays out the different steps that God or a higher being took to create the earth, and it doesn't really necessarily touch on the rest of the universe as much as science does. So in the Bible stories, it's condensed into 7 days of creation. Day 1 would be the light, day 2 would be the water and sky, day 3 being land and vegetation, day 4 being the luminaries, which does play into a little bit about the stars and the moon and all that, day 5 being fish and birds, and day 6 finally being man. If you look into Genesis 2, it has a little bit different turn of events for this, but it's pretty much all the same. Now with science, we believe in Big Bang Theory, which it means there was initial expansion of the universe, and that meant Earth, the beginnings of Earth were there, but it's not like the Bible where Earth is as we know it, and Earth had everything there. Earth was just a tiny little rock, essentially, in the beginning of the universe. So in the past, the church and science have really fought over this, and right now the church is actually beginning to accept more and more of the Big Bang Theory. And in recent times, Pope Benedict has spoken out and said that he is willing to reconcile differences between the Vatican and science and accept that while the Big Bang Theory doesn't necessarily completely align with creationism, it does show that there is a lot of similarities, on that creationism maybe is more of a loose guideline of how the universe came to be. The next thing I want to talk about is more recent clashes between the church and science. So a well-known subject right now is the birth control pill. And originally this was created by John Rock, and when he first made it, he actually didn't really want it to be necessarily a contraceptive. He created it more to be something that would just kind of regulate the cycle and help women who are struggling with different, health concerns for it, so that they could feel a little bit better. And he saw the contraceptive aspect of it as more of a side effect, and he didn't really think that it was a bad thing that it should be a bad thing in the eyes of the church, seeing as he was a religious man himself, because he thought that it was kind of an unintentional side effect, and that the hormones that he was using in his pill were natural hormones, so therefore it was naturally occurring that this would happen. And he was right in the beginning. Pope Pius actually approved the pill on behalf of the church in 1958, and he said that as long as the contraceptive effects were secondary to the original purpose of using the pill for Catholic women, then that was perfectly fine for them to use, and it wasn't against the moral codes of the church. However, this was a very short-lived acceptance, and in 1968, Pope Paul, in the Human Vitae, said that women of the Catholic Church could no longer use the pill as a contraceptive because they think that this should be for creation, and that using the pill kind of allowed people to have sex freely without its intent in the eyes of God. Another big debate that the science and the church have been having is about stem cell research, which is very, very prominent in scientific research right now. So what it basically is scientists use many times embryonic cells, and this is because there's many different stages of cells. There's pluripotent, unipotent, totipotent, and embryonic cells are in their pluripotent stage, which means they have tons of uses and they haven't quite adapted to what they're going to be yet. As shown in the little picture, stem cells can become many different things, and that's why we use them. So what scientists do is they take these embryonic stem cells and they use them to grow different organs, just different parts of the human body, so we can save lives and do different things with that. But the church doesn't like this because they believe that life is alive at contraception. An embryonic cell, when you use it for stem cell research, you're destroying it, so the church believes that you're destroying a life. But the church is actually coming to terms with this, and they are moving towards funding research of stem cell research so that they can find other ways to do stem cell research without actually using embryonic cells and destroying lives. So where is the church and science going to go from here? Right now, they're working together on many different things that they've been fighting over in the past and in the present. They're starting to come to agreements, such as we've seen with creationism and the Big Bang Theory, and with the pill, and with stem cell research. And I believe that they're going to progress together. If they can just come together and agree on some things, just agree to disagree, that they'll be able to progress together. Science is going to keep progressing no matter what. And for the church to remain relevant in future generations and today's generations, they need to kind of conform to it and realize that, hey, you know what? Things have happened, things have changed. People can still hold their beliefs and hold their morals, but we do need to be able to progress with science so that we don't fall behind.